Hello everybody, this is Vahe here, and if you remember a couple of weeks ago, MusicMark Quest created an event for you guys to ask me questions, and today is the answer session, I guess you can say. Thank you to everybody who answered, who asked questions, and hopefully we'll get to all of them, and you'll hear the answers to the questions that you asked. All right, so just diving straight into the questions. We're starting with Kavana Butuamla Kambai from Facebook. These are all from Facebook. And so she says, I'm going to be reading the questions first, and then I guess answering them, all right? So Kavana says, I love this guy, Vahe Tilbian, because he's the most positive person I know. I don't know if that is true, but thank you. I admire his voice very much. He is a better in every way. He dances, he sings. I am very proud of him. My question to Vahe is, music is your life. I know that, but besides that, you also know a lot of history about the Ethio-Armenians. What are you going to do about this big history? All right, so I think as somebody who's very proud of my background, and if you follow me on social media, you already know that I try and post about the history of Ethiopian Armenians as much as I possibly can, and of course, like, educate people while I'm at it as well. Dare I say it, but maybe down the line in a few years, maybe there might be a book, maybe even a documentary. All right, so just keep an eye and ear out for that. But I'll try and do the best that I possibly can when it comes to my history, especially the history of my family here in Ethiopia. All right, so I hope that answers your question. That was Kavana Butuamlak Mbay.
You know me, baby, I know you. You are the one who's crossing me daily. My mind is set off.
All right, so moving on, we have Eddie Zacks, Ida. She says, first off, I am super proud of you. You represent cultural beauty. Oh my God, thank you so much. My question, how and when did you know that music was to be your life's mission? Thanks for the question, Ida. And I honestly, I don't know how and when did I know this. I've been singing all my life, to be honest. My mom even has tapes of me singing around the house, and at the time we used to have a cassette tape recorder, and she just used to press record, and I think I have it around somewhere. Maybe we'll share it soon. But when did I actually start music was when our mutual friend, actually, also a fellow artist here in Ethiopia, Bitik Mlalu, she and I knew each other through salsa dancing here in Addis Ababa, and she asked me if I wanted to join a band that she's putting together. And this whole thing happened when we were at her salsa club, and we were practicing for a show, for a Rueda de Casino show. And there was a microphone attached to the mixer. I think they had a karaoke night the night before. So a song was playing. I think it was Home, sung by Michael Bublé. So I just picked up the microphone and started singing along. And so she said, "Oh, I didn't know you sang, so I'm putting a band together. It's always been a dream of mine." She said, "So would you like to join?" And I said yes. Also because my aunt and my uncle were in a band when I was growing up, and I used to go to their rehearsals, and it always felt like I needed to do something musical. And I love dance so much, so the next step for me was to go into music. And I just, it just took off from there. And as you said, it became my life's mission, to sing and dance for a living. All right, thank you, Eddie, for your question. Moving on, we have Carlim Alejandra from Venezuela. Muchas gracias. And then she says, "For you, what is success? Do you consider yourself successful? If yes, why? If not, what do you think you need to achieve to be successful?" She says it's 4 questions in one, but it's something I'd love to know about Vahe. Greetings from Venezuela. Okay, Carlim, again, muchas gracias. And I think to answer this question, all right, success. I believe success is being happy in life, actually. Doing what you love, doing what you love most every day, and also being able to make a living out of doing what you love most. And with that definition, I think I do believe I'm working towards being successful. And at the end of the day, it's not really about fame or money or how many cars you have or how many days of the year you're on tour or how many fans you have on social media, how many fan pages you have on social media. Although, we all worry about stuff like that. I mean, I do. You follow me on social media, and as much as other artists, who are working towards their goal in life, we all worry about how many likes we get on our pictures and our videos and our posts. But of course, the ultimate definition of success for me is being completely content with life. And it's a work in progress. One day you're on and one day it's off. But at the end of the day, in general, the most important thing is being happy the time we are put on this earth. I don't know. I believe that I am working towards my success. But am I successful now? Well, I think I'm happy with what I'm doing with my life. Although there are days, again, on and off, right? But ultimately, I'm content. So I believe I'm successful. All right? Thank you so much, and I hope that answers your question. What else do we have? Hi Mano Tasrat. Miss Jaime, also a fellow artist from here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. She says, okay, here is my one and only question. What outcome has the power of music brought to you in the process of becoming who you are right now? This is a very interesting question. Thank you. Well, first off, it has given me an opportunity and platform to get my voice heard. I guess that's what I can say. Not just in singing, but in everything, in most things. not many get the chance, even though it's the generation of the social media where everyone has an opinion about everything and everyone gets offended at everything. But at the risk of sounding arrogant, and forgive me, but through the power of music, I have discovered the power in myself, that it's okay to be who you are and how you are, and as the boy who was teased and laughed at most of his life, and who is still teased and laughed at as a man, it's really important that I use this power of music to tell myself that it's okay to be how I am. It's okay, well, how you want your hair to be. It's okay if you are into fashion and style, and it's okay. It doesn't mean one thing or another. All those labels just fly out the window, because what's important is how you label yourself or how you feel about yourself. There's clearly I do fall off the wagon again. As somebody who follows me on social media, you see that I have emotional meltdowns currently, almost every day actually, but again, that's okay. It's at the end, it's about living your life the best way you possibly can. There's no shortcuts, no halfway, no half-assing it. Sorry for the French. It's not just about surviving, but living your life. This is what the power of music, as you say it, and I will actually add to that the power of dance as well, because I started off dancing and then went into music, and so this is the way that I channel my ideas, my thoughts, and relay it into music and dance, and then tell it to people. All right, so that's the way that I try to make a difference in this world, at least for my community, for my family, and for myself. And I believe as an artist, you also do that yourself. So to kind of conclude, I found myself through the power of music, and I wouldn't change that for anything. All right. Thank you, Ivy. Thanks for the question. It's okay so far. We have Mr. Eddie Joseph. I'm going by your Facebook names, by the way. All right. So if the name and surname are wrong, then you just let me know. Actually, not let me know, but I'm sorry. I'm just going by your Facebook name. All right. Question by Mr. Eddie. He says, as much as I admire your voice, I always wonder why you never did a music concert or an album tour. Can you explain why? All right, you're making me go into certain situations where it might be a little, not offensive, but maybe a little tricky. All right, so, but I'm gonna answer the question. As musical artists, we're at the mercy of promoters and organizers. At least in Ethiopia, that's the way it is. I haven't really, save for Eurovision, which is like a European / internationally organized huge song competition. If you really want to go on tour or just organize a concert here in Ethiopia, we know we're at the mercy of either your sponsors or somebody who's willing to promote you. So if they choose to work with you, then there's a chance to collaborate with them. But sometimes it's also about money for them. Well, not sometimes, almost always. So if they don't feel like they're gonna make the most amount of money from you or your concert, then they might just skip on the idea, which is again, it's okay, it's their decision. I couldn't do anything myself. I mean, some people would say I didn't market or advertise myself well enough. But I don't know. I would sincerely and respectfully disagree with that. I did the best that I possibly could as a one man kind of promotion artist, PR and everything. I just do everything myself. I don't necessarily have a team behind me. Others might say that my music is not perhaps what the masses want to hear. And again, that might be true. I just stay true to myself. I don't necessarily feel like I should perform songs that would attract a mass audience, right? I need to stay true to myself, to my style of music, and to my background, to where I come from and what I like to do. So whatever the reason is, this is where I am now. And who knows, maybe down the line, if there's another album, and it will be promoted or marketed in a different way, maybe. But this is how it is now. I just, why didn't I organize it myself? Because I couldn't afford to. This is the last, like the short answer to your question. And the last question in English, before we move on to questions in Russian and Armenian, is by the very own Marcus Haile, our Ethiopian Swedish friend, and he asks, why can't we ever do Eurodisco together? And Marcus, I'm not into disco. No, neither in Euro disco. Neither are you. So let's be honest, right? But thank you for your question. But once you're back in Ethiopia, or maybe who knows, I will visit you in Sweden, maybe for Eurovision this year. You never know who might show up to do a performance. Yeah, you never know. I'll hit you up when I'm in Sweden. All right. Thank you very much for your question, and take care. God bless you and the family. All right. So that's it for the English questions, and now we'll move on to the Russian ones. All right. Moving on now. We have a couple of questions in Russian, but because I don't read Russian, I had help from our very own Mark to translate it. And one of them is as follows. Evgenia says, hello Vahe, please tell me, is there any particular aspect in the culture of Ethiopia particularly favorite to you? Maybe some kind of dance or a song or a literary piece. And what do you think? Are there cultural similarities between Armenia and Ethiopia? If yes, what are they? Many thanks in advance for the answer. With respect, Evgenia from Altai Krai, Russia. Thank you very much, Evgenia, for your question. Honestly, within the cultural aspect of Ethiopia, you know what really intrigues me, and I'm proud to be part of this culture, is the fact that people of many different faiths and many different backgrounds have been living in Ethiopia for centuries without any problems. Especially in the world now, you see a lot of clashes between Muslims and Christians, or people of the Jewish faith and Muslims. But in the Far East, you've got Buddhists and Muslims clashing. There's people of no faith clashing with people of faith. And honestly, here in Ethiopia, it has never really been an issue. Especially Islam and Christianity has been thriving next to one another without any problems. There's mutual respect, which is the most important thing, and mutual understanding. And I love that. The fact that Christians celebrate the Muslim holidays, Muslims celebrate the Christian holidays. We're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. Really, Ethiopia is made up of 80 different ethnic groups with different languages, different dances, different musical styles. But there's unity in diversity, which is absolutely beautiful. And I think the world has to learn a lot from here. It's really something that you have to come and see. If you haven't ever visited Africa, then I suggest Ethiopia is one of the first countries you should visit in Africa. So yeah, that's one of the things that really intrigue me, and I'm proud about. When it comes to similarities between Ethiopia and Armenia, yeah, there's culturally there's a lot of similarities, because from back in the day, Ethiopia and Armenia are two of the oldest Christian nations in the world. So there's bound to be some similarities, especially through Orthodox Christianity. When it comes to, let's say, the language, the letters, the alphabet is very, very similar. So the sounds might be different, but the way they look is very similar. And so that's another question. Well, how come Ethiopia and Armenia are far from one another? How come they have all these similarities? When I first visited Armenia in 2005, I was completely shocked, because I felt that I had been there already, because it felt the energy was so similar to Ethiopia, where I'm born and I've lived all my life. And so it was beautiful to discover that. And recently also, there was somebody I was talking to in Armenia, and he said, do you realize on old maps, the part that we call Armenia now, or that used to be Greater Armenia, the part that is Western Armenia, that we refer to as Western Armenia nowadays, it was known as New Ethiopia, and I did not know that. And I did some research, and it was actually on some maps it says New Ethiopia over there. So it's really cool. I love that there's some sort of connection between these two countries. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. And people who've been to both places, and I know a few who agree with me. And you can only know that if you visited both lands, both countries. All right, thank you so much for your question. That was Yevgenia from Russia. All right, so the next question is again in Russian. It's from Hasmik Sahakyan. We've translated it into English again. She says, you guys sang well. Thank you very much, Hasmik Jan. And she means genealogy at Eurovision 2015 in Vienna, Austria. But she says, I have one question. Why did you put the Armenian flag on the shoulders of Conchita Wurst? And Hasmikjan, I personally don't remember ever putting the Armenian flag on anybody's shoulders except for my own. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Perhaps the question should be directed somewhere else. Yeah, all right. Thank you very much for your question. And take care. All the best in Moscow, in Russia, to all the Armenians there. All right. Hello, everybody. There was a couple of questions that I couldn't get to last time, so I'm answering them now. And this last question that was posted on the MusicMark Quest events page, I guess you can say, on Facebook, was from Salam Salamovic. And she says, how easy or hard is it to identify yourself so eloquently with two cultures, the Ethiopian and the Armenian one? The reason I ask this question is I used to be someone who gets emotional every time I heard an Amharic song that goes like So Kagaru Kawata, So Kalagaru Manandagar. Being away from home for over a decade, I feel like an outsider, and I also feel an outsider where I live and work, which is in the United States. Watching you singing in Amharic in Itizita was my aha moment. I looked up more info and listened to your interviews. You are the perfect example to learn to blossom where you are planted. Thanks to you today, I am singing This Land Is My Land with pride in the same way I jam with the Amharic songs. Have a blessed day and night. Thank you very much for your question, Salam Salamait. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely blossom where you're planted. But also forgive the if this sounds a little arrogant or self-centered, baby biased, less self-centered, more biased. But when it comes to the history of Armenians, because of what we've gone through, the Armenian genocide, there's you see this a lot where Armenians have settled throughout their journey in life. Even before the genocide, our land was constantly invaded by foreign forces. So we Armenians have had to learn how to live abroad for a long time. So I think it has become genetic. So you just basically there's a study that says your DNA remembers. So even though you yourself haven't been through that situation, your DNA, your genes remember what you've gone through, and then it's survival of the fittest. Basically, you know what to do. When it comes to me, I am fourth generation from my mom's side anyway, fourth generation Ethiopian Armenian. My great grandmother was born here. So when it comes to identity, I can't really not say, or I can't really not say I'm Ethiopian Armenian. It's physically impossible. It's mentally impossible, psychologically impossible. I'm very proud of where I'm born, but I'm also very proud of where my what my roots are, where my blood comes from, basically. And it's very important for me to identify it that way. It's not just one thing. I mean, I understand people who move and do their they naturalize where they are, but I think it's also important to always remember where your roots come from. So yeah, do I go through identity crisis? Of course I do. We all do. But it's how we bounce back from that. All right. Thank you very much for your question, and see ya. All right, so it's that time where I would have to pick the best question, as we had said a couple of weeks ago. It's very, very difficult. I wish I could give all of you guys presents, really. But I had to pick only one, but because I couldn't pick only one, I've decided to pick three. So prizes will be sent. I'll let you guys know. I'll write to you guys an email or an inbox message to see where I can send the prizes. But prizes go out to Sona Beziganyan. Thank you very much for your heartfelt message and for your question. It was really quite touching, actually. Thank you so much. Second one is Carlim Alejandra. Thank you so much for your question, all the way from Venezuela. And the third will go to Dativik Sargsyan. She asked 6 questions, and they were all really cool. Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you, Spasiba, for the questions from Russia. We had a question from Georgia. Thank you. From Ethiopia, from Armenia, of course. Where else did we have questions from? it was great. Thank you so much. But I'm no mama sagano, and I shall see you soon. All right. If you don't already follow me on Facebook, go right ahead. It's Vahe Tilbian official, my fan page, and you can find me on Instagram as well, Vahe Tilbian. Thank you very much. All the best to you. God bless.
Should I listen what you say? I listen to what your phone say. It's a tough decision to make. I don't really wanna lose you when I do what your folks say. Turn me over to the hands of the law. Should I listen what you say? I listen to what your phone say. It's a tough decision to make.